hopefully this is going to work better. We're on Wi-Fi now. All right. So can you hear me online? D. Okay, good. We're good. All right, everyone. So just a little bit of yoga philosophy first before we do our meditation. So every day that we do this practice together, I want to give you some theory for your mind to chew on. And then when you hear the theory, you can begin to find ways to apply it into your life. The process of yoga is not just physical shapes. The physical shapes are fun and they feel good. They're sensational in the body. But that's not where the true transformation and personal growth comes from. It comes from practicing the principles in the world. So the mat is where you practice it, but then you do it out in the world, and that's where the real change happens. So that's why we like to do a little bit of philosophy first, a couple of nuggets of wisdom that you might find ways to apply into your actual life. When you interact with your spouse, when you interact with your coworkers, when you have challenges and choices to make in life. That's where the real change comes from. So this book is called The Science of Yoga, and it's one of thousands of translations of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The Yoga Sutras is the original classic text on yoga philosophy. It was compiled around 200 BC by a wise yogi dude named Patanjali in India. And it's 196 sentences, that's it, sentences or sutras, giving clues on how to live life to the fullest. And for the past few days we've been, well, not the past few days, for the past 99 days, 98 days, this is day 99, we've been talking about different principles in here and discussing how we can apply them to our physical yoga practice and to our life. So today we are on Sutra 254, so second chapter, the 54th Sutra. And we're going through an 8-stage process, the 8-limb process, which is known as Ashtanga Yoga or Raja Yoga. And in the 8 limbs, there are morals discussed for living, there are ethics, there are ways to hold your posture, physical things, there are ways to breathe. And this one, Sutra 254, discusses the 5th of the 8 limbs. And the 5th limb is called, it's a fun vocabulary word that you'll be quizzed on later, it's called pratyahara. Pratyahara. You should all try saying it. One more time for the camera. Adam, for the camera. All right. Putting him on the spot there. Okay. And it's a compound word like most of these fun Sanskrit words. And what pratyahara translates to is pulling or withdrawing into itself. And let me explain why it's called that. So this limb, this 5th stage, is the bridge between the external practices and the internal practices. So out of these 8, we have things that you physically do in the world, ethics, morals, how do you live, how do you move your body, how do you breathe. Those are the external things. Then we have this limb, number 5. Then the last 3 are all mental things. How do you focus your mind, and how do you concentrate, and how do you then transcend? So this is the bridge between the two, external and internal, withdrawing the mind from the external world to the internal. And it simply means turning off your sense receptors. So eyes, ears, nose, mouth, skin, these are our sensory receptors to the physical world. And it pulls our attention out. All these things allow us to interface with the physical world. What does something look like? Is it pretty? Do we want more of it? Is it ugly? Do we want less of it? What does something smell like? Do we want more or less of it? What does something taste like? Do we want the chocolate cake or do we want the kale salad? What's better for us? And all these senses, what feels good, right? The senses are necessary for living in life, but controlling the senses are necessary for living an enlightened life. And that's what pratyahara is all about. How do we withdraw our mind from the senses? We can utilize them when necessary, and how do we shut them off when they're not necessary? Has anyone floated in a sensory deprivation chamber before? A float chamber? You have? That's a pratyahara practice. It's turning off all of your external ability to perceive the world, right? You're floating in this perfectly skin temperature, perfect water, so that's eliminating your sense reception, basically. There might be some sound, but you can choose to have the sound completely off, right? That takes care of your ears, so no more sensory input to the brain from your auditory sensation. And then it can be dark or a little bit of ambient light that cuts off your eyes. And then there might not be any, there's likely no smell. So what are you left with when you take away all of the input from the external world? What are you left with? Your inside world, right. You're left with the mind. And that is our biggest challenge in life, learning to overcome the mind. Now, when we think about how do you overcome the mind, that implies that there's something or someone that's overcoming the mind. Well, do I have a split personality? Am I something different than the mind? Yes. The brain is only the interface to the world, but we are something different. We are something greater. Withdraw the senses. Yes, Lori. Hey, there's Mars. So the practice of pratyahara is learning to first optimize the senses and then learning to create like a shutter, like a damper switch. So, has anyone given birth? There's a lot of pain involved, right? Can you imagine if you were able to just turn off the pain and not need an epidural or not need any medicine to not receive or perceive rather any pain? That'd be pretty cool, right? There are stories of yogis being able to have surgery without any anesthesia. How do people walk on coals, walk on glass? How do you experience a situation that could be extremely painful but not care, does not have any reaction to it? So people have figured out ways to turn off the sense receptors to the brain. Now, it doesn't mean the skin doesn't still feel something or there's nothing physically happening, but the prana, the energy that transmits along the vein or the nerve, rather, to the brain, the prana is cut off. The nadi is stopped. The nadi, or the energetic channel, is not transmitting anymore. And so there are some practices to work on that. So we'll do one today during meditation. Really? So that's very impressive. I've done a fire walk. Lori, you've done a fire walk? Wow, okay, someone's walked on fire. That's pretty cool. So the meditation we're going to do is really fun, and if you've been joining online, we've done it once before. It's called Brahmuri breath. It's the bumblebee breath. So for our newbies, Dan, Taylor, you guys are going to think this is really weird. You might think this is weird too. We're going to buzz. We're going to make a buzzing sound. And we're going to close off our physical senses with our fingers. So I'll demonstrate. And what this technique does is it draws our attention inward. It does the exact process of pratyahara. And it allows us, you've done this before. You have, okay. And we're going to use a mudra called yoni mudra, where we use our fingers to close our senses. So it draws our attention inward. It creates a buzzing vibratory sound in the inside of the head, actually. So our inner ear is going to be perceptive rather than our outer ear. And before we do it, we'll work with a little bit of sense awareness, and then we'll move into the buzzing. So here's what it looks like. Let me see if I can do it with this headset on. So thumbs will press on the trachea, the little fleshy thing right here by the ear. So gently, the thumbs close that. The index fingers will rest on the eyes to assist with closing the eyes, just gently. So the middle fingers rest on the soft cartilage part just below the bone of the nose, but you're not closing the nose because we're breathing through the nose. And then ring finger, top lip, pinky finger, bottom lip. This is called yoni mudra. So let's remove the hands just for a moment. You're going to listen to my voice to begin, but then once you actually begin with the process, you're not going to really hear me. So we'll do 6 breaths. So it looks and sounds like this. I'll just demonstrate. Six of those, and then the last one we'll inhale and hold, and we keep the eyes closed afterwards, and then we meditate on the third eye, the point in the midbrain. And this type of vibratory sound kind of saturates the brain and soothes and calms it, so it doesn't look for external stimulus anymore. It allows you to just be internally focused. It's a pratyahara practice. Kelly, it's your favorite? Good. All right. Well, we'll do it. Okay, so please find your comfortable seat. Make sure that you don't need to fidget for the next few moments. Okay, we'll start off first with just hands on the knees. Make your spine tall. Let the shoulders relax. Start to deepen the breath. Constrict the throat a little bit for ujjayi breathing. Now before we move into Brahmuri, bumblebee breath, let's just become first of all aware of sound. So our ears have the largest radar beam, the largest circumference of perception around our body. We can sense the farthest things away with our hearing right now. So just be aware of what sounds you hear. Start off with whatever is outside of the room that you're currently in, outside of this building. If you're at home, outside of whatever building you're in. Perceive any sounds there, and then slowly draw your attention closer. Hear the sounds inside the room. Hear the sounds that your breath might be making. You might even become sensitive enough to hear your heartbeat. And now attune your awareness to the sense of smell, your olfactory receptors. Are there any smells or scents present? The process of optimizing and ultimately shutting off the senses is first becoming hyper aware of them. Now move your awareness to taste. Just acknowledge if there is any taste present. And now your tactile response, your skin, your sense of touch. So first on the shell of your physical body, all of the external skin that covers your body. Do you feel your clothing? Do you feel any pressure changes of the air around you? Now move your awareness in and feel any sensations inside the body. Now acknowledge if there's any input from the eyes. Even though the eyelids are closed, the eyes are still active. The visual cortex is still operational. Okay, keeping the eyes closed, bend the elbows, lift the hands toward the face, and apply yoni mudra. Thumbs to the trachea of the ear, index fingers to the eyes, gently closing the lids, middle fingers to the nose just under the bone area. Ring finger, top lip, pinky finger, bottom lip. So breathe in and then close the ears and begin Brahmuri. We'll do it together, 6 breaths. Go ahead, don't be shy. Make the sound. Feel the vibration happening. Allow this vibration to soothe and to smooth out the brain cycles, the brain functioning. 6 breaths. If you can hear me, focus your mind on the third eye. Keep it smooth, keep it consistent. Don't be shy. Go ahead and make the sound. Make the buzzing sound. We're about halfway there. Please continue. Okay, now for the last one, let's finish this last one and breathe in and hold the breath. Hold the breath, close off all the sense windows. Holding, focus the mind on the midbrain. When you need to release, please release, and hands go back to the knees, keep the eyes closed. And just Just become aware to the sensations, become aware and sensitive to vibrations. Keep your mind focused on the middle of the brain. Understanding that you are in control of your senses. You are more than what you see, you're more than what you hear, you're more than what you feel. You are the puppet master of the physical body. You pull the strings at will. Allow the breathing to become involuntary. For the last moment, just keep your awareness on the brain, the midbrain, and be still. Okay, please take a deep inhale, fill the lungs all the way up. Open the mouth, let it go. Bring your hands to your chest, bow the chin slightly. And as we do at the end of all of our meditation sessions, we develop this sense of gratitude for what is right here and what is right now. Unconditional gratitude, whatever this present moment shows up as, be grateful for it, whatever form it may take. Gratitude must be the foundation before any positive change can happen. And slowly open the eyes if you choose, or remain in meditation for another 30 seconds or so while I take off this Britney Spears microphone. All right, to our online folks, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., day 100. Tasha Lynn, hey, Lisa, Nicole did join, 103. All right, see you tomorrow, everyone.